So looking back over the video, I realized that I made a few mistakes. So if you see me splice in with a different outfit and splice out back into my original one, that's why. And also at the end of the video when I'm discussing why I decided to record a different fight, I never rode the Tsukiyomi ride chain. So I rode a different grade 1, a grade 2, and then I rode CEO for turn 3. So the deck didn't really do what it was supposed to do. So I hope you guys understand that. But anyways, I hope you enjoy the deck profile, so I'll turn it over to that. Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Crypticx bringing you another Vanguard 0 deck profile. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tsukuyomi. This is another deck that I've looked forward to building for a very long time. It was my second most sought after deck from the latest sets that have come out in the English version of Vanguard 0. It's a really interesting deck. You essentially get to know what cards you're going to draw into and what triggers you're going to check. So that being said, let's get into the deck profile. This time I think I'm going to start with grade 1s. We've got 4 PGs, obviously because PGs are busted. We've got an 8K vanilla, the Gemini. Self-explanatory. It's an 8K vanilla, but it does serve its purpose in this deck, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Looking back at our starter for 2 seconds, we've got Godhawk Ichibiyoshi. Vanguard Circle, at the start of your ride phase, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, ride a Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukiyomi, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck. If you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. And then the next card in our grade 1 lineup has a very similar skill. It's Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukiyomi. On Vanguard Circle, when placed, if Godhawk Ichibiyoshi is in your soul charge 1. And then another Vanguard Circle skill, at the start of your ride phase, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, ride a Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukiyomi, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck. If you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. So what this is doing is it's looking in the top 5 cards of your deck. You pick the correct grade, ride it, and then the other 4 go to the bottom. If you don't find the grade that you're looking for, all 5 go to the bottom. And then the game orders the stack for you, so you don't necessarily get to choose the cards that are going to go to the bottom, so you won't have that advantage. However, you can use the log feature to go in, click view log, and then you'll be able to tell which cards went to the bottom from top to bottom. And then you can either try to memorize it that way, or you can take notes. Shouts a different fight for even suggesting that. I had not thought about doing something like taking notes until I saw his video on the Tsukiyomi deck himself. So next up, we've got our Oracle Guardian Blue Eye. This card is like bread and butter. You have to run it at 4. It's one of the only 4-ofs in the deck besides your Tsukiyomi ride chain. You've got Rearguard Circle. When this unit boosts, if your soul has 6 or more, draw a card and put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. You'll see a lot of these effects coming into play in this deck just because you want to cycle through your deck and get to that stack as soon as possible. That way you know what you're going to draw, and then it also allows you to manipulate your draws. So if you know you've got a grade 2 and a grade 1 coming up, and then there's a heal trigger right under that, and you need it to survive the next turn, you can use its skill to draw those 2. Like let's say you have 2 on board, you can use its skill to boost with both of your units, and then draw 2, put X card and X card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and then your heal trigger is sitting on top. That way whenever you swing with your Vanguard, you drive check that heal trigger. Same can be said for stands, draws, crits, whatever you want to run. But next up for grade 2s, we've got Silent Tom. It's your boy. Rearguard Circle. During the battle that this unit attacked, your opponent's Sentinel does not activate. This card is the most annoying card in 0, I think, because PGs are really busted and it just completely ignores them. So when you're at the end of a game and your opponent is sitting there with 4 cards in hand, you don't have to worry about not being able to hit their Vanguard and deal them the 6 damage as long as you're making the proper numbers. So ignores PGs, really good. What can I say? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Next up, we've got Oracle Guardian Red Eye. On Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, when this unit attack hits, soul charge 1. Now this card is really important. A lot of lists in Japan stopped running this. However, I see a huge problem with that in the fact that if you don't hit your Tsukiyomi ride chain, you're not going to have 6 in soul by the time you ride the grade 3. And the grade 3 skill, which we'll get into a little bit later, is very important in reaching your stack. So, not only that, but this card does help you get to your stack faster. So, yeah, you need to get 6 in soul. It soul charges 1, so if you miss one of the Tsukiyomis on your ride chain, you can just use this, get that extra soul, and then boom, you're at 6 soul. Or if your opponent lets you hang on to it for some weird reason, I mean, it's an interceptor, so they'd have to take it out ideally, but if they don't, then you can get an extra soul off that, reach your stack quicker. Next up, we've got Battle Maiden Tagetsuhime, Rearguard Circle. During your turn, if your soul has 6 or more cards, this unit gets plus 3k. So majority of the time you will have 6 or more cards, so she's just a 12k attacker, very good. Gemini can go behind her. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Silent Tom Gemini combo, like that column, is really important because it'll hit 21k, which will hit passive defensive trigger on an 11k Vanguard. So there's that. Next up, you got your grade 2 Tsukiyomi. When placed, if Godhawk Ichibi Yoshi is in your soul charge 2. And then Vanguard Circle at the start of your ride phase. Look at 5 units from the top of your deck, ride Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukiyomi, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck. If you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. So it's just another continuation of that. Like, look at top 5, ride the next up, and put the rest on the bottom. And then you go into your log and view what your stack is comprised of. Next up, we've got that Faithful Angel. Vanguard or Rearguard Circle when this unit attacks. If your soul has 6 or more cards, draw a card and put it on the card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. It's essentially the same skill as our Oracle Guardian Blue Eye, so you can make a column of those dudes, do that same skill twice, and you just start accelerating through your deck really fast and getting to that stack, and then hey, I've got a heal and a stand coming up. I'm able to, heal this damage off and then stand this unit, and it just changes the way that you play the game, and I think it's very, very fun. It requires a little bit of thought, a little bit of skill. It's definitely the most skilled deck that is in Zero right now, and probably for the foreseeable future, so we'll see how that goes. But next up for grade 3s, we've got CEO Amaterasu, very iconic unit. She's very good. She is the backup ride if you don't hit your Tsukiyomi ride chain and you don't see the grade 3. It's not a great or a stellar backup ride, but it is the best alternative option, I think. So on Vanguard Circle, during your turn, if your hand has 2 or more cards, this unit gets plus 4k, and then on Vanguard Circle at the start of your main phase, soul charge 1, again looking through your deck to get to that stack as fast as possible. Look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or the bottom of your deck, so you get to choose whether or not you want to leave it on top. So if it's a trigger, you can leave it there. If it's not, you can put it on the bottom. Or if it's a PG and you need to draw into it and you've got a card that will let you draw, you can leave it on top, get that PG. Very handy. Next, Vanguard and Rearguard Circle, when this unit's attack hits, Soul Blast 6 and Counter Blast 4 to draw 5 cards. So her Mega Blast is pretty powerful because we do get that skill of being able to draw 5 cards, which accelerates us through into the stack a little bit faster. Like I said, if you miss and you don't ride the grade 3 Tsukiyomi, you know that some of the cards are at least stacked on the bottom, so you can try to get there as quick as possible if you've got a good stack going. Next up, it's the girl herself, Goddess of the Full Moon, Tsukiyomi, on Vanguard Circle. If your soul has 6 or more cards, Counterblast 2 to draw 2 cards and put a card from your hand into your soul. This is really strong because you just Counterblast 2, draw 2 cards, helps you reach your stack a little bit quicker. She's good. She's really good. So, what can I say? And then we've got Evil Eye Princess Uraili. Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, when placed, if your soul has 6 or more cards, choose a random card from your opponent's hand, bind it face down, and return it to your opponent's hand at the end of the turn. This card is super strong if you don't hit your Silent Tom to achieve your win con, which typically is Silent Tom. And you see that your opponent has like 1 or 2 in hand, and you've got 1 or 2 of these in hand, you can just plop them down, get rid of their cards, and then swing face and close game that way. So finally, we've got our Secretary Angel on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. When this unit attack hits, if your soul has 6 or more cards, draw a card and put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So again, that recycle skill that we see with the Blue Eye and the Faithful Angel. Forgot what his name was there for a second. So it's all about getting to your stack. It's all about making the stack, and it's all about getting to your stack. And you know, you can take notes. It's a thing that I do. Definitely helps me keep track of things. I don't have to keep going back into the log and looking at it that way. I will say that you do have to look at the log, because when you're looking at the skill happen on screen, and you know, I'll explain what I'm saying a little bit later when we get into the gameplay. When you're looking on screen, it fans out the 5 cards, and then it'll pick the card, write it, and then the other 4 cards will go to the bottom. And you would think that they would go to the bottom and then in the order that they were in on the screen. That is incorrect. The game does it for you. So you have to go in and view the log and see the order that they go in, because it goes from top to bottom, and it's typically not in the order that they've fanned out. The computer will prioritize certain cards and stuff like that to give you an advantage, or maybe not an advantage at all. So, and for triggers, we're running 3 draw, 6 stand, and 4 heal. The reason we run 6 stand is because sometimes this deck can still have an issue with getting through double interceptors, as with any clan that doesn't have stands or retires. So the stands really help, and since you know when they're coming, they're a little bit safer to run, because they're kind of a gamble in other decks. However, when you get to your stack and you know what you're about to check, you can safely make a decision to swing out a rear guard unboosted, then swing with your Vanguard and check a stand, apply it to that rear guard, and give it the power. That way, you get through double interceptors with no problem. Draw triggers, just in case you don't draw into one of your Tsukiyomis, they can come in handy. I have almost decked out a couple times, so I've kind of thought about changing these 3 to just crits. That way if I hit them early game, it helps me push that extra damage, or I can bait a PG early on in case I don't see Tom. And then obviously 4 heals, because 4 heals are good. So yeah. But yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Let's go ahead and jump into a game and hope I don't absolutely suck at playing this deck. So we're going to try it out. May have to record this one a couple different times, because it's easy to screw up. So like I said, take notes. So we are going to record a second quick game here. Things just went detrimentally wrong with the first one, so I didn't feel like displaying that, because it just didn't show off the capabilities of the deck. So we'll go ahead and jump into another one right here. Like I said, guys, you can totally take notes. It's totally acceptable. No judgment. It looks like we're going to go up against a VP farmer. If that's the case, we'll just skip this one. That is the case. Alright guys, we moved over to the next one. We took care of that VP farmer, so hopefully we get a good opponent here and I can show off the power of this deck. Alright, so it looks like we're going up against Royal Paladin. I wonder if it's the Galahad or Garmor. We'll just have to see. Alright, so we're without our Tsukuyomi ride chain here, period. So I'm just going to put everything back. I do like to have a couple pieces in my hand as backup. So we got the grade 1 here, that's good. We'll likely run into the grade 2 at some point. So it does look like we're going to play against Garmor. So. Alright, and then we go into our log. And we saw that the grade 2, another grade 2, a grade 1, a draw, and a grade 1 went to the bottom. Then we'll just go ahead and pass turn. I do like to have that extra bit of time to kind of look at my stack. Even if it does make the opponent wait just a tad bit longer, I don't mind doing it, honestly. So we see a PG go to damage. That's quite unfortunate. We'll ride our grade 2. Look at our log here. We've got double heals, a grade 1 and a grade 1. I don't think we call anything yet, because we typically want to wait until we reach that 6 in soul threshold, so just go ahead and swing vanilla. We see an Oracle Guardian Gemini go to the bottom. And remember, whenever you do a drive check and you have a card go to the bottom, you need to write that down in your stack as well if you're taking notes, or you need to keep it in your noggin. But you can always go back and review things in the log too. Just remember that there is a timer, and if you take too long, you can lose your turn. So, not saying that I've done that before. So it is looking like we're going to take some damage here. We're going to go to 3. Which makes me a little nervous. We do get a draw trigger though, and draw into our Silent Tom here, so we're going to hold on to him as long as possible. He doesn't get a trigger, so we will stay at 2. We missed the grade 3, but that's okay because we have 2 in hand, so go figure out what we put to the bottom, which was a grade 2, another grade 2, a PG, a grade 2, and a grade 1. And the way that you take notes is that you view what's in the log and you write it down, and then you match it up with the number of cards that you have left in your deck down here. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cards in my stack right now. But we can reach that pretty quickly. So we're going to go ahead and call double interceptors, set up a good defensive turn here because we need to take out his interceptors. We'll use Tsukiyomi's skill to draw 2. We see another Tom. We'll probably put we'll put one of the Toms into Soul. We want to hold on to the Red Eye for next turn because we likely won't get him to 5 this turn. Actually, it's relatively impossible to get him to 5 this turn. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start things off. Well, I guess we can stand this. I should have swung with this column first, technically. Because now one of these isn't hitting, but that's okay. And we'll activate the Faithful Angel. We draw into a PG, that's really good. We're going to put both of our stands on the bottom here. Can kind of set up a double stand play. So we're up to 17 cards in our stack currently, which means that we'll likely hit it next turn. He'll only deal us 1 damage, so we won't be able to hit it with Tsukiyomi, but we can hit it with the Red Eye and then the Blue Eye. Hit his stand defensively, that's not too good, but that's okay. No real reason to ride. Let's see. So we'll hit it 2 cards. Man, being able to use Tsukuyomi's skill here would be incredibly nice. We're going to swing like this because we won't be able to stand any of our rear guards anyways. And have them hit. So we're going to heal. It's a defensive trigger here. That's okay. Now the next two cards should be a 2 and a 1. We'll just go ahead and swing a Vanguard here. Oh. We're going to miss the heal. I screwed up on the stack a little bit. So we'll put a stand on the bottom. That's okay. So it was a 2 and a draw, which means that we're going to damage check a 1 and a heal. Go back here and make sure. Don't think I wrote down my draw checks. So there is a 2 before that stand. We most certainly won't reach the bottom of our deck here, but we'll damage a 1 and then draw a heal for turn, which is unfortunate, but we do have an attacker if that's the case. So we obviously ride skip. We've got a heal on top and then a 1, so we'll likely just keep that heal on top and then call our Silent Tom here. We won't use Tsukuyomi's skill, but we will swing at rear. Heal, give it to Tom, that way he'll hit past the defensive. Now, if he has the PG here, we'll bait it out. The 1 on the bottom of the deck. He doesn't have the PG, and he doesn't get the 6 damage heal. So yeah, that's the Tsukiyomi deck. And if you don't mess it up, it's really, really good. It's really good even if you do mess it up. As you can see, I did have a slight hiccup in that game. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe, and I will be sure to bring you guys the best quality Vanguard 0 and Cardfight Vanguard content from here on out. And be sure to check me out on Twitch. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then I'll occasionally stream on some weekends as well. So yeah, if you like the video, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys